stream, got it. Being live stream.
นมัสการเจ้าค่ะ
สวัสดีครับอาจารย์ครับ
Okay. Greetings to everybody. Okay. Let me check with the Facebook first. Good morning to you, Sajal Ka. You're the first entrant. First enterer, not stream enterer. First enterer, which is similar.
That's just I think because of the Tanajan, because of the family troubles, that my practice is rather iffy. So I'm just reading my way, and I was reading that for 1 whole hour yesterday, and there are many things that you encounter is something that we are also coming across, the different levels of thinking that you had. But I actually think myself to be that maggot, what Ajahn Chah talked about in excrement, that who you can take the maggot out and put it in a good smelling flower, but it doesn't feel comfortable. It wiggles. So you put it back in the excrement, it's comfortable. And I think I can, in my case, actually I strongly see that how the way I'm kind of, I see the path, but even though this is excrement, I am comfortable or something. That is very, very strange. I'm just saying that because it's kind of difficult for me at this point.
That's the amount of delusion you have. You're not seeing them as just fellow actors on the stage. You take them for real. You take your family members as really your family members. But in fact, they're just actors, just like you, acting on the stage. And sooner or later, the show will be over and all of you will go separate ways. You return to your real family. Like actors, when they finish the play, they go home to their real family. But when they're on stage, they are playing with their playing family. So you don't see this, you see the stage family as your real family.
Yeah, I think that I can always say that I'm going to put it down and move away. And also these are just, including myself, these are like heaps of flesh, bones, and all this together. I see that. When the moment comes, when the mindfulness counts, I get engaged. I forget that I could keep on chanting the mantra that under the breath that you talked about many times and keep calm. But I'm really sucked in there. I think this is going back to the excrement really, and all the kind of, that means I'm thinking all these things to be real, which it is really not. These are just heaps of like dukkha and stuff. And that includes myself, and I'm seeing it, but only I think as an idea, but it's not, it has not sunk in, and I don't know when or if it will ever. But I a lot of times feel that I always have the option of dropping my responsibilities and just go, just leave. and then these things that you're talking about, the actor, all these things you think about, the pseudo responsibilities that, okay, you have a child, you have to raise him, you want to be a good parent, you want to do these expectations, and not only societies but my own expectations of this, all these years and years of programming. So it's kind of like a tussle.
Yes, you cannot see that we are all like bubbles. Sooner or later the bubble will break and disappear. Sooner or later the body will break down and disappear. Everybody's body, not just yours. Everybody is like a bubble. Your body is a bubble, my body is a bubble. And then what happens to the bubble? They exist for a while and then they disappear. They return into water, they become water. Same way with the body. It goes back to the four element. Try to see it this way, and then you don't want to have to take things too seriously. Just take it enough to get by. Yes, we have responsibility, we have everything that we need to do, but we don't have to do it to the point where we forget that it's just a bubble. Just do it enough just to try to maintain the bubble for as long as possible. But sooner or later the bubble will break up. See what I mean? And what you really want to do is to do for your real self, your invisible self, which is the mind, the one who knows. You want to train the mind to be able to remain calm and peaceful all the time with the practice of the Noble Eightfold Path. That's the only way that will make your mind be always peaceful and calm and happy. Okay?
Thank you, Dhammatalk.
No question today, huh? Just comment. Okay. Next, Mudita from Bangkok.
Good evening, Katanajan. Okay. I would like to ask you if our desires are caused by avijja or upatankan.
Yes, what about it?
No, I would like to ask if our desires are caused by our avijja or is it caused by upatankan, that we take our five khanda as ourselves.
It's avijja, ignorant, not knowing that the five khanda doesn't belong to you. It belongs to nature. And so due to delusion, thinking that it is yours, so you have attachment to them. If you know with wisdom that they are not yours, they don't belong to you, then you don't have any attachment to them. Now you know someone else, then they're not part of your family, so you don't have no attachment to them.
No.
But if they are your family member, then you have attachment to them. That's about. So you need to develop wisdom to be able to see that everything doesn't belong to you.
Right.
Everything belongs to nature, because everything comes from nature, from the six elements. Really, that's what they are: the earth, the water, fire, the wind, the knowing element, and the space element. This form everything that exists in the world, in the universe, and it keep changing, keep rising and falling.
ท่านอาจารย์ may I ask you more about the knowing element and the space element? Is knowing element is our mind? Or...
Yes, your mind, you're the one who knows, the one who thinks. While the space element is the room that the body exists. You need to have space for the body to exist, right? If no space, how can you? If you don't have space in your house, how can you stay in your house?
That's so true.
All right, that's what
Okay.
space means. Room
Okay.
for your body room for everything, room
Right.
for the earth, room for the planet, room for the stars to habitate, to exist. Without room, how can these things exist, right? So you
Right.
need space.
Very true. Yes. Okay ค่ะ ท่านอาจารย์ I think I
Okay, that's
okay.
enough for you.
Yeah. Today,
Okay.
yes. Thank you so much.
Next, Willie from Indonesia.
Good evening, Dhanachan. I don't have any questions today. Thank you.
All right, Gok Seng from Singapore.
John. Yeah, good evening, Ajahn. I'd like to ask about how can we alleviate the problems of sensual desires?
How to what with the sensual desire?
How can we alleviate
Eliminate. Well, first you have to isolate yourself stay away from them. See? Because when you are near them, you have this strong attraction toward them. So you want to isolate your mind, your body away from the sensual objects. Like monks, they ordain and then they go live out in the forest. And so this is the first step. You have to isolate yourself because when you are near the sensual objects, this desire will come up. As soon as you see an object, you already have a desire. Yeah. So you want to go and stay in the objects where you have no attraction, like in the forest. You see trees and you have no attraction to the trees. You see the birds, you see, things in the forest, there's no attraction. Then secondly, you have to keep the mind from wanting to get back to the sensual objects. That's when you have to develop mindfulness. Don't let the mind think about sensual objects. By calming your mind, get it into jhana. Once it gets into jhana, it becomes rested, becomes still, and becomes happy. It has another form of happiness to replace the sensual objects. And once you have jhana, and when you come out of jhana, and your happiness or your contentment from jhana disappear, and your mind will start thinking about the sensual objects again, then you use wisdom to teach the mind that the sensual objects are impermanent, and by their nature can cause you to have dukkha when they disappear, when they change. And you cannot force them to be permanent. You cannot force them to be under your control. Anatta, they are all anatta, they are natural phenomena. Once you see with wisdom that they are anicca, dukkha, anatta, then you will stop your desire permanently. Because you are running into dukkha without knowing it. It's like running into a heap of fire, a bonfire. Yeah, but once with wisdom, people will say the fire is hot. You don't want to run into the heap of fire. Same way with wisdom, you'll see that everything, all sensual objects are dukkha. They will harm you. They will cause you suffering, give you suffering, either by sadness or loneliness or whatever, all the bad feelings that you will get from these sensual objects, sooner or later. Okay, this is the way to really get rid of everything, all your sensual object. It's like to behave like a mom, become a mom, and then you isolate yourself from all the sensual objects that you surround yourself with. And you live with a teacher, a master meditation teacher, who will encourage you to develop mindfulness and practice jhana. And once you have jhana, he will teach you to investigate, to see that all the sensual objects are anicca, dukkha, anatta. Okay? This is good enough? All right. Philip, Adeline from Kuala Lumpur, Malaysia.
No questions tonight.
No question. Okay. Anuraji from New Zealand.
Hi. Hi, good evening, Tangajan.
Greetings to you.
Yeah, how are you? Question, Tangajan. It said that Nibbana is deathless. So, what does it mean by deathless? Is it talking about the chitta, which is once someone attains Nibbana, the chitta becomes permanent? Is it the description?
It means two things really.
Yeah.
Deathless in the sense that the mind is always never dies. The mind exists forever. But due to delusion, it comes into contact with the death, which are the samsara, existence in samsara.
Yeah.
Like it comes into a connection or in association with a body, for instance. Then once there is a body, there is aging, sickness, and death.
Yeah.
But once it has disconnected itself from the body forever, then there will be no death, because there will be no birth. There will be no body that it will be in connection with. So it can be either deathless in the sense that you don't take birth anymore.
Right.
But you can also say that the mind is deathless. But it only becomes truly deathless as when you become enlightened, when you become. But if it's still delusional, it will keep on taking birth and then facing death from what it becomes connected with, such as the body.
Yeah. Okay.
So once you have got rid of your defilement, which causes you to be connected to bodies, then there will be no death anymore, because you won't take up any body to be your possession, like right now. So you have a body, right?
Yeah.
And you even strongly believe that it's you, but in fact it's just you just something you bought from a shop, like a car, But since you've been connected with it from the time of birth, and you cannot see your true self because your true self is invisible. So you only see half of the twin, which is the body. You don't see the other half of the twin, which is the mind. So the mind then takes the body or believes the body to be itself. So when the body dies, the mind feels the mind thinks that it dies with the body. Right? When you think of your body dying, you think of yourself dying, right? Okay. So when you become enlightened, then you'll see that the mind is deathless, because it doesn't take up any more death, any more birth. All right, is this good enough?
Yeah, that's good enough. Thank you. Thank you.
All right.
Thank you.
Next, Claudia Sweden from Germany.
Good afternoon from Germany, Tanatra. Yes, today I have a question, and it's very much connected to the question of Anura. So we often learn that that it's good to have gratitude to be alive. And my question is, does the meaning of to be alive, does it mean to be grateful for having currently this human body in this life? Because I also don't see death. But when we contemplate about the precious life we have now, and when we practice gratitude to be alive now, so does it mean to be in this life, like I'm now in this life of Claudia Zwiener, or I don't know how to ask the question correctly.
I mean, when you think that is, you should be thankful that you're alive, because if you're dead, you cannot do anything.
Yeah, so what is dead in Buddhism? Because I don't see any dead. So when I'm not in this life, I'm in the next life. And
Yeah, but the difference is that this life you have the Buddha's teaching to guide you, to lead you to get out of your rounds of rebirth or samsara. Without the teaching of the Buddha, then it doesn't make any difference, because you will still be stuck in samsara.
Yeah.
And the teaching of the Buddha only comes once in a long, long time and lasts a few years. For this Buddha teaching, he said it should last about 5,000 years. Then after that, you might have to wait for another 100,000 million years for a new Buddha to come around to teach you the Dhamma again. So if you happen to be born during the time when there's the teaching of the Buddha, then you should be grateful, because here's the opportunity for you to end your rounds of rebirth, your cycle of rebirth. See, so that's what it means. But if you happen to be born in this lifetime and there's no teaching of the Buddha, you don't know anything about Dhamma, don't know anything about yourself, then it doesn't matter whether you're alive or not. But doesn't makes much difference, because you will still be stuck in samsara.
Yeah.
Okay, that's the point.
That's the point. Yeah. Yeah, that's how I can understand it, because I always did wonder. So when I'm not in this life, I'm in another life, and before I was in this life, I was in a life before, but now it's much more clear. Now I understand.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
All right. Next, Olga. Olga, where are you from? I think this is your first time here. Welcome to our room. You have to unmute your microphone first. Okay.
Yes, good morning here. I'm from Brazil.
Brazil, okay.
Brazil, yeah.
Yeah, all right. You have any question?
Yes, I would like to ask you something about the Satipatthana Sutta, mindfulness on breathing.
Foundation of mindfulness, yeah.
Yeah, because some teachers, they say that this body, when it says body, mindfulness of the body is the body of bread. And others say that it's not. We could talk about Anapanasati instead of Satipatthana. The mindfulness of body is the body of bread, or is our own body? Our own body. That's my question.
Okay.
Okay. Okay.
All
Just
right.
finishing. I have been practicing being mindful of my body, and then calming my body, and then the mind, etc. But I'm not sure. Thank you.
Okay. I think the problem is First, you don't understand the sutta, what the sutta actually is telling us. The sutta is teaching us the 3 degrees, like you study in university. You have bachelor degree, you have master degree, and you have doctor degree, PhD. Okay, and you have to go step by step. You have to take the bachelor degree before you can go up to the master degree, before you can go up to the doctorate degree. So the same way with Satipatthana Sutta, it's teaching you 3 levels. Actually, the first level is mindfulness, so that you can then, using mindfulness to meditate, to calm your mind, to enter into jhana. Okay. Then once you have jhana, then you have to study the nature of the 3 objects in the Satipatthana Sutta, which is your body, your feeling, and your mental objects. That they have the 3 characteristics of existence. They are anicca, dukkha, anatta. So this is the different steps of practice. For most beginners, we're dealing with the development of mindfulness, of sati. The way to develop mindfulness of sati is to focus the mind on something, such as your body. Just keep watching your body. Tie your mind to your body. Don't let your mind go thinking about other things, because you want to be able to have mindfulness to stop your thinking. So you need something to tie your mind with. So the Buddha said, use the body in all 4 postures. Whatever you do, just keep watching. Your mind stay with your body. If the body is standing, your mind should be standing with the body, not go think about other things. If your body is walking, the mind should be walking with the body. Everything that the body does, the mind has to be doing in tandem with the body. But we tend to do separate things together, right? You eat and you think about what you should be doing tomorrow, or think about what happened yesterday. This is not mindfulness. To have mindfulness, you have to be with the body. If the body is eating, the mind should be eating with the body. So this is what he means by mindfulness of the body, using the body as an object of mindfulness. This is during the time when you have activity. But when you sit down and you want to calm your mind completely, then he teaches us to use the breath as the point of focus, as the object of focus, to still the mind completely, to enter into jhana. So this is two separate objects of mindfulness. First, you use the body as you go about doing your things. You have to move around, right? From the time you get up. You get up, you have to go to the toilet, wash your face, brush your teeth, take a shower or whatever, get dressed, and then maybe cooking some food or eating some food. You have to be mindful of all these activities. Don't let your mind go think about yesterday or tomorrow. Don't let the mind go away from the body. This is the practice of mindfulness, using the body as the object. And then when you have time to meditate, then you sit down and then the body is not moving anymore. So you have nothing to watch except the breath. So you use the breath, you watch the breath instead of before the body is moving around, you can watch the movement of the body. But when the body sits down, then you cannot watch the body anymore. So you watch the breath instead. At the tip of the nose, watch the air coming in and going out at the tip of the nose. That's where the contact happens. the air contact the tip of the nose when it comes in and when it goes out. Just keep watching at that point and don't let your mind go away. Don't let your mind go think about other things. If you can do this, then your mind will gradually become calmer and calmer, and then eventually it will become still. When it becomes still, we call it jhana, fourth jhana. And the mind, with this stillness, the mind will have contentment and happiness, mental happiness, and also equanimity. This is the practice of mindfulness, to get your mind into jhana. Once you have developed this and trained yourself sufficiently until you can always enter into jhana anytime you like, then when you come out of jhana, the next step is to study the nature of the body, the feeling, and the mind objects, the mental objects. See that they are constantly changing, like the body, constantly change. The feeling is also changing. Sometimes you have good feeling, sometimes you have bad feeling, sometimes you have neutral feeling. And you can see that you cannot control them. They come and go as they like. They are changing, and you cannot control them. If you want to control them, you get dukkha. When you want to have only good feeling, when you cannot do this, you have disappointment or sadness. But if you don't control them, you just let them be, then you won't have any sadness or suffering. So this is the second level of practice. We call vipassana, or development of insight or wisdom. To teach the mind to let go of all these three objects. Let go of the body, let go of the feelings, and let go of the mental states. With the practice of mindfulness and meditation and contemplation or investigation. You have to do this step by step, not all at the same time. Because you need the two. First you need mindfulness. Then you use mindfulness to bring the mind into jhana. Then you use jhana, the mind that has jhana, to develop, to understand the nature, to teach it to understand the true nature of the body, the feelings, and the mental state, in order for it to be able to let go of the attachment it has on the body, the feeling, and the mental objects. Once you can do this, then you become liberated. You will have no more dukkha. Okay? So you have to ask yourself which step you are now. Where are you?
First
First step. Okay.
Thank you so much.
Yeah. But people, when they read the sutta, they say, "Oh, I can go to the third step. I can go to the second step. I can contemplate on the nature of body, feeling, and mental state." Yes, you can do that, but you cannot let go of your attachment to them. You still attach to your body, even you know that the body is impermanent. You still want it to be permanent, right?
Okay. Thank you so much.
Okay. Clear enough? Okay. Let me go to the next person then. Alvin Lee from Malaysia, Kuala Lumpur.
Good evening, Tanajan. Tanajan, I was just looking back on one of the questions I asked you. I think that was the first talk last year about Sila, Samadhi, Panya. And your reply was, if you have 15% Sila, you have 15% Samadhi, and you have 15% Panya. So, if you have 40% Samadhi, 40% 40% Sila, 40% Samadhi, 40% Panya. How do we relate this in terms of when it comes to jhana or the fetters, the 10 fetters? Say if I have 15% of Sila, then how does it relate to this 15% Samadhi? Is it to first jhana, second jhana?
I don't know. You just calibrated it yourself, I guess. This is just a, sort of a comparison. Yeah,
Right,
but
right.
in real terms, you have to calibrate it from your practice. You'll find out because we have, when you have 15 sila, it means you only have 15% of your time to practice.
Right. Okay.
That's what it means. If you have 100% sila, like you become a monk, then you have 100% time to practice your mindfulness. So the probability of getting jhana is much more than 50% or 10%.
Oh, okay. All right. Okay. See what you mean. Thanks, Dhammatalk.
All right.
Yeah, thanks. Now I know what you mean. Yeah. Okay.
Okay. All right.
Good. Thanks.
Next, Jolin Tay from Singapore.
Good day, Ajahn. No question today. Thank you.
Okay. B. Ravin from Bangkok. Any question today?
Yes, Thanajan, I have one or two questions. So my first question is regarding, I think, what you mentioned earlier about contemplation of the body. Does this also refer to the five khandhas, as in the five khandhas is what makes up the body?
No, just the one. The body is just the one of the five khandhas, and then feeling is the ones that comes with the four nama khandha. The other four, you only investigate just the body, just the feeling, and then the other three will be investigated at the same time. Not investigated, will be dealt with at the same time. If you can deal with feeling, you can deal with perception, sankhara, thoughts, and vijnana. Because the one that is really the problem is the feeling. See, it's the one that seems to be the head of the pack. It keeps attacking you, so you want to be able to deal with the head of the pack first. Once you can deal with the head of the pack, the others will be under your control.
So Vedana is the most difficult to get under control.
Especially the painful Vedana. Like when you get sick, when you have fever, when you have pain in your body, or when you sit and meditate and you have painful feelings, you want to get up, right? You want to run away from it. Right? If you want to let go of it, then you just have to leave it alone, and you don't have to run away from it. Just leave it alone. But your mind is not strong enough. You don't have enough equanimity, ubekha, to remain still, and face the painful feeling. So that's why you need to develop the jhana to get equanimity. Once you have equanimity, when you come face to face with painful feeling, and if you want to let go of your attachment, then you just have to leave it alone. Let it comes and go by itself, not you running away from it. Because it'll keep coming after you. No matter where you run, you can run all over the world and it will still keep coming after you. You see why people keep going from places to places? They're running away from this painful feeling, especially the mental one, not the physical one. They're not happy with their job, they're not happy with people around them, so they go take on a vacation or they move to a different town. But after a while, the same feeling come back again. So they have to run away. But if you practice vipassana, you can say, these are the things that is natural. They come and go. And the way to deal with them is just to leave them alone. But you need to have a strong mind, a happy mind to do it. You need to have a mind with jhana. Because the mind with jhana is happy and it can remain still in the face of unwanted phenomena like painful feeling.
So the delusion is caused by the three poisons, lopa, tosa, and moha. Is
No,
that what causes
the delusion is not seeing that everything is anicca, dukkha, anatta.
Oh, okay.
Not the other way around. Not seeing everything is anicca, dukkha, anatta makes the mind have desire to get rid of the anicca, dukkha, anatta. But you cannot get rid of the painful feeling. You cannot get rid of sickness. You cannot get rid of death. You cannot get rid of aging. What you should do is to embrace it, because you cannot eliminate it from your body.
So it goes back to the point where we still take the body as being ourself. That's why we want to control it. But if we can see it as not ourself, we will know that, oh, I cannot control what doesn't belong to me. Is that right?
Well, not just the self. You can also look at it from the permanent point of view. The body eventually will dissolve, return to the four elements. Whether you think it's yourself or not, you can see that more clearly. Seeing it not yourself maybe is difficult, because you've been living with it from the time you were born to now, and you were never separated from each other. So it's hard to see that it's not yourself. It's only after you have jhana, then you can see that the body and the mind are two separate objects.
Yes.
So when you have no jhana, you can at least use impermanent, seeing that our body will getting old, getting sick, and die. Will return into the four elements. Then this might be able to teach your mind to accept the truth and let go of the attachment or the desire to prevent the body from getting old, getting sick, or die.
So meditating for a long periods of time will help to split the body and the mind from each other.
Yeah, and also help to keep the mind, to make the mind let go of the attachment to the body. Because when you're in samadhi, you are temporarily detach yourself from the body.
Yes. Yes.
Okay.
Yes, that's very clear, Tanajan.
All right.
Thank you very much.
Julia from Colorado, if I remember you correctly.
Yes, Tana Ajahn, thank you for your teaching. Thank you for the opportunity to join this group. So I do have a question, but I think maybe Tana Ajahn just answered it with the previous question. My apartment rental ended, so now I'm in a retreat cabin. Yesterday was the first day, so I felt very free and happy, and the mind was clear. But I know also that is impermanent, and so I will be doing more deep meditation. But when the jhana wears off, for me, sometimes I think it's sort of like Lokutra unpleasant situation sometimes. Like if I go walking on the earth, there are certain places that feel more peaceful, and certain places where maybe something has happened a long time ago to someone else, and I can feel that. And so I wonder, or on a mundane level, if someone comes into someone else's space, I can work with the unpleasant Vedana, but it's okay to push away certain things or stay in the place that's more conducive to peace, maybe. I know one teacher who says, that you should keep all of the senses open, but just be mindful at all the salayatana. And then another teacher says, no, whatever you contact, that one can offer benefit to those beings. So Ajahn, I ask how to deal with Lokutra, unpleasant forms and feelings.
Well, it depends on your position. Where do you position yourself? If you position yourself as a meditator, as a practitioner, aiming for jhana, then you want to focus your mind on one thing and disregard everything else.
Okay.
Like I said earlier on about focusing on your body as your object of mindfulness, so that you take control of your mind, not to let it go running all around the world, reacting to everything that comes into contact with, just like you just mentioned. You say sometimes you walk on soft ground and you react already. When something come into your mind, you react to them. But if you want to have one-pointedness, you want to have jhana, you have to disregard everything, ignore everything. Of course, except when it's really something that you have to deal with, then you deal with. But if you don't have to deal with, then you just ignore it. That's why you go live alone, so that you won't have to get too much interaction with people and things. You want to isolate yourself so that you can focus on your body constantly, and then be able to sit and then bring your mind into one-pointedness, which is jhana. So it depends on your position, where do you want to place yourself in. If you want to place yourself as someone who's enlightened, then you can then deal with everything that comes into your mind, come into contact with your mind, and react appropriately with metta, with karuna, with mudita, or with ubekkha. So you have to know where you are at this time, at this point in time. If you're not enlightened yet, you want to work yourself toward enlightenment, then you have to start with mindfulness and jhana. So you have to spend most of your time before enlightenment. You have to be alone, like the Buddha. You spend 6 years practically pretty much alone. But after his enlightenment, then he then comes and into contact with the rest of the world. Because to him, the world has no effect on his mind anymore. Whatever he sees or hears doesn't affect his mind. But with an unenlightened person, when you see or hear something, it affects your mind. Because you don't have the protection that you have to develop from the practice of mindfulness and wisdom. Okay?
Okay, thank you, Ajahn.
Next, Siddhartha from Indonesia.
Good evening, Thanajan. Today I don't have any question. Thank you.
Okay, Forest Town from Boston, Massachusetts.
Thanajan, I also don't have any questions today, but thank you for your teaching.
Okay, Sri Chek from Vancouver, British Columbia.
Good evening, Thanajan.
Thanajan.
Any question today?
Thanajan, can you explain what is a
Pacheka Buddha?
Pajeka Buddha.
Yeah.
There are two types of Buddhas there. A Buddha who, after his enlightenment, he spread the teaching to others, the Dhamma to others. And there's another type of Buddha doesn't teach anybody after his enlightenment. He prefers to keep it to himself. That's a Pajeka Buddha. One who becomes enlightened by himself and then decided not to teach to anybody else.
So right now, Ajahn, like there's the Buddha teaching right now on earth. So is there any Pacheka Buddha now or no? No, not possible.
Well, it depends on how you define it. Someone who is self-enlightened, maybe he lives in a cave alone by himself and he never heard anything of the teaching of the Buddha, and he became enlightened. Then he can become a self-enlightened. But if he hears the teaching of the Buddha, then he will probably use the teaching to help him become enlightened because it's easier than find a way yourself.
Yeah.
But if he should live somewhere, say in Africa or in Latin America, somewhere where there's no teaching of the Dhamma, and he's on his quest for liberation from dukkha, like the Buddha did, and he became liberated by his own practice, then he's a Buddha.
Okay. So Ajahn, like they don't teach
Because
even,
they find that maybe the people around them not interested in the teachings. Like the Buddha, our Buddha, when he first became enlightened, he also had this discouragement in himself. He didn't want to teach anybody because what he has to teach to people is something they won't like. They don't like to follow his teaching. From seeing what they do with their life, they are immersed in sensual pleasures. Like teaching in America to the masses in America, you think people in America would like to follow the teaching of the Buddha? Only very few, a small minority, that will take up the teaching seriously. The rest, they don't care. They don't want to have anything to do with all this, meditation stuff. They want to go on a holiday, on a cruise. They want to make money, build house, build mansion, and all this physical thing, all this sensual pleasure thing. So that's how the Buddha thought of the world when he think about teaching other people. So he sort of, I better not teach. That's what he thought. But then after a while, his compassion rises and say, hey, not everybody is the same, There are people who might be interested in your teaching. So he then divided people into 4 categories, like the 4 types of lotuses. People who has enough ability to appreciate his teaching and might be able to become enlightened. And there are those who might take a little time to teach them and before they can understand the value of the Dhamma teaching. And then another group will take much more time than the second and the first group to teach. And the last group is those who would not appreciate his teaching at all. So he said there are some people who he can teach. So he went to those who can become enlightened quickly first. So he went to those people who are already practicing meditation, like the 5 ascetics. They already have jhana, so it's easy for them to understand the 4 noble truths and the 3 characteristics of existence, and also be able to apply them to get rid of the defilements. So that's why he went to the first 5 ascetic first as his students. And when he finished with his first talk, one of the 5 became a Sotapanna, a stream enterer already. And after he gave a few more talks, all 5 of them became Arahant. So he went to other monastery. He only go after the monks first, those ordained, those who already have jhana or have sila, because they are more capable of using vipassana, using the 4 noble truths and the 3 characteristics of existence to get rid of the sensual desire, the 3 desire. Then when he finished with all the monks, then he go to the lay people to teach next. But if he didn't think carefully at first, he might just dismiss that and think that everybody is the same, that everybody is going after sensual pleasure. So it's a waste of time to teach them. Because he might look at people, his family first. He might think of the people in the palace, because that's where he came from. See? And he saw everybody in the palace was going after sensual pleasures, and it's impossible to teach them. That's why he didn't go back to the palace first to teach them. See?
Yeah.
Because he knew it was impossible to teach them then. But eventually he made them change their mind by seeing the people that he had converted had become enormous, had become a big number. So it started to make them to have second thoughts about following his teaching. Then eventually they come and ask him for ordination and follow his teaching. His relatives, his mother, his stepmother, his wife, his son, everybody eventually become ordained and became enlightened. But with a Pacceka Buddha, he might be just, maybe he sees that impossible to teach to people around him, so he just decided not to teach. Because if he felt
he will teach or no, like.
Pardon me?
Sorry, Ajahn.
If he lives with people who doesn't know how to meditate, then he don't know where to start to teach people that there is another type of happiness.
Yeah.
Because everybody looks for sensual objects for their happiness. Okay. Or maybe there might be some other reason. Maybe a person who became a Buddha was himself not capable of talking. For instance, he cannot communicate with other people.
Yeah.
So he cannot teach. So he became a silent Buddha.
Yeah, that makes sense too.
So we don't know why the reason, but there are some Buddha who will not teach other people. Let's put it that. And there are some Buddha who will teach. We are fortunate to run into a Buddha who taught the Dhamma teaching 2,500 years ago. And his teaching is still alive today. Still useful today.
Very much so.
Okay.
But our Buddha, Buddha Gautama might become Pacceka Buddha. Is that what you're saying?
If he didn't have second thoughts, but he have second thought after a while. But according to the sutta, he said it's the Brahma who came in, the Brahma God, But I think it's a personification more of the 4 Brahma Vihara. Of metta, karuna, mudita, ubeka. His compassion, his loving kindness for other people, make him have second thoughts. But when he first thinking about teaching, he just immediately dismissed the idea. But then after he come and think about it later on, then he said, there might be some people who might be like him, looking for enlightenment. So he saw them in the five aesthetics.
Okay.
So he changed his mind and then start teaching. But he went to the A student first before he goes to the B student and to the C students.
He's rational.
Right. It's easy to teach A students. They can understand quickly and graduate really quickly. See? That's why we have different grades, right? In classroom, you have 4, right? A, B, C, D.
That makes sense.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sri, you have anything?
Yeah, Tan Ajahn, like, am I right to say if we want to be successful in practicing meditation, at the same time, we also need to cultivate the 4 powers, like the chanda, the virya, the chitta, vimamsa.
That's right. You need this. They're the tools to make it successful. So you have to have chanta. You have to enjoy doing meditation. See? If you don't enjoy, then you find it very boring. You find, So how do you make it yourself enjoy? You either have to look at the fruit of your meditation, look at the result of your meditation. Or if you don't, you might have to associate with people who have jhanas, and they can explain to you the benefits of jhana, the happiness that you gain from jhana. That will entice you to have this love, this desire to meditate. Once you have this love or desire to meditate, which is chanta, then virya comes naturally. Then you become diligent.
Oh.
You don't have to force yourself to do it. You want to do it. And then you will then also have concentration. Your mind will only concentrate on meditation only. Won't think about other things, won't do other activities. If your friends come and ask you to go play soccer or go to a football game, something, you will say, oh no, I'd rather go meditate. Okay.
I can only read from the sutta that the Buddha explained the benefits of.
That's right. You have to study the benefit that you get from practice. Then it will then encourage you to inspire you. Let's put it that way. Inspire you to do the Dhamma practice. So you want to look at the fruits of your meditation, the 4 levels of enlightenment: Sotapanna, Sakidakami, Anakami, and Arahant. This is the reward that you get from your meditation practice, Dhamma practice.
Okay.
Once you know this is what you're gonna get, then you have the desire, the inspiration. It's like if somebody offer you a job and tell you the salary that you're gonna get, If it was a high salary, then yes, you want to grab the job right away. You have to know the reward first, right? Before you want to commit yourself to any task. So the reward is nibbana, enlightenment, 4 stages of enlightenment, freedom from samsara, freedom from all types of dukkha. This should be enough to entice you, because nothing in this world can give you this reward. No matter how rich you become, how big you become, you will still have dukkha. You will still not be satisfied permanently. You will still not be contented. You will still want something. Ask Bill Gates, ask him, is there anything else he wants? I'm pretty sure he wants something else.
Yeah.
And now he wants a peaceful divorce, maybe.
So we need to look at the benefit, then inspire ourselves.
And the only way to see the benefit is to listen to those enlightened person, not those who are not enlightened. If they're not enlightened, they can give you confusion result.
Yeah, that's the problem.
Because they don't know the result themselves. How can they tell you what the results are? So you need to talk to those who have already attained, have the result. Then those people can tell you definitely that it's good. Yeah, definitely it's good. Okay.
Thank you, Tanajan.
Thank you.
All right. Next, Ricardo from Uruguay.
Thank you, Ajahn. Nice to see you again. I have two questions. Last year, one of my boys, my son, had a new baby, my first grandson, and I was wondering if I can do anything to relate to this baby. I mean, if I should meditate and, I don't know, try to give him peace or whatever.
No, cannot do anything except teaching him. That's all. So he has to be able to understand what you say first before you can teach him.
All right. Okay. Teach him how to meditate, for example.
Well, you have to teach him step by step. Maybe first teaching him sila, honesty. Like the Buddha, when he taught his son, when his son became a monk, he taught sila, honesty first. Do not lie, tell his son, do not lie. Because when you lie, you are destroying your integrity, your value. See, he used a cup to take up water and put in the cup, and then he poured the water out of the cup once. He said, every time you lie, you are losing your integrity, like you're losing the water in this cup. Eventually, when you're constantly lying, then there will be no worth in yourself anymore, because nobody will trust you or believe in you. So you want to teach the basic first. Teach dana, take him to a monastery, or let him join with your dana, your charity work, and then teach them maybe first honesty. Do not lie and do not steal, do not cheat, for instance.
Okay. And the second question would be intellectual. Why do we come to samsara? Why our mind gets
delusion, avijja, paccaya sankhara, sankhara paccaya vijnana, and eventually down to rebirth. Delusion or avijja, the lack of knowledge, the truth that everything in samsara is anicca, dukkha, anatta. Our mind thinks samsara is the source of our happiness. That's why we come to samsara.
And then we go out of the samsara.
By discovering a new type of happiness, the mental happiness. That doesn't need samsara to give us the happiness. Samsara gives you happiness, but it also gives you dukkha. See?
All right.
Like a coin, it has two sides. Samsara has two sides, has happiness and have suffering on the other side.
All right.
But Nibbana has both sides are only happiness.
Okay.
No suffering. Right. So he teaches us to seek the happiness of Nibbana by the practice of meditation.
Right. Okay.
So we need somebody like the Buddha to teach us this. If no Buddha, we will not know this thing. We will still keep going after samsara. We will still keep going after sensual objects. Keep going after money, keep going after fame.
Pleasure.
Yeah, pleasure, and so forth. And then we cry later on when we lose them, right? Like right now, lots of people in the world is crying because they cannot go after the sensual objects. They are under lockdown. Huh? So how are they gonna have happiness? If you know how to meditate, then you don't have problem. You can be happy without having to go outside of the house. Then you can stop your samsara, your wandering in samsara. Once you have found a new home, nibbana.
Inside.
All right. Okay.
Thank you very
So
much.
get rid of your avijja, ignorance, by constantly thinking of samsara as anicca, dukkha, anatta. Everything that you do now is all anicca, dukkha, anatta, except meditation, except dhamma. Everything else is anicca, dukkha, anatta. But dhamma will lead you to permanent peace, permanent happiness, and completely without any suffering, without any dukkha. So keep following the Noble Eightfold Path. That's the path that you want to stick to follow. Okay?
Okay. Thank you very much.
All right. Next, Gek Genso from Penang, Malaysia. No question, like before.
No question.
Okay. Edwin Tan, also from Malaysia or Singapore?
Hi, good evening, Ajahn from Singapore. No questions from me today.
Okay. Gary from Singapore also. Any question, Gary?
Good evening, Tanajan. There's a question tonight. Tanajan, how is the best way to deal with anger?
Anger is caused by your disappointment. When you expect something and you don't get it, then you became angry, right? So in order not to get angry is not to have any expectation. Just take things as they come. Que sera, sera. Whatever will be. Then you won't get angry. But if you expect things to go this or that way, when it doesn't go, then you get angry. Okay. When you expect someone to do something for you and when they don't do it, you get angry, right?
Yeah.
But if you don't expect anything from anybody, then you won't get angry with anybody.
Because Tanajan, sometimes we are caught in a situation. Sometimes, for example, we feel that maybe there's some misunderstanding and we can explain our way through, meaning, for example,
then don't explain. If you cannot explain, don't explain. That's it. So what? If they want to hate you, they don't want to be your friend, let them be. There are plenty of other people to be friends with. People who understand you, who will listen to you. Why try to force somebody to listen to you, to understand you, when they don't want to understand you?
Yes.
Right?
All right. Thank you.
And then you end up getting angry at the person that you want to be with or to like, and then you get angry at the person you like or the person you want to be part of you.
It's true.
Okay. Look at the impermanent. That sooner or later we are going to have to be separated anyway. Right? So try to take things as they come. This is equanimity. Take things as they come. Good or bad, whatever. Consider to be the result of your karma. You get good thing, that's because of your good karma. You get bad thing, that's the result of your bad karma. All right, don't expect anything.
So could maybe practicing metta bhavana be helpful?
Yes, but I think better to practice equanimity, ubekha. Because once you have ubekha, then it's easy to practice metta.
Okay.
Because if you don't have ubekha, you have to force to have metta. Sometimes you're angry at someone and you have to force to be nice to someone, which is not possible anyway, right? But if you have ubekha, then you're not angry at anybody. Then you can have metta easily.
Okay.
So the key is ubekha, not metta. Really. Once you have ubekha, then you can have metta, karuna, mudita easily.
Okay, thank you, Tanachan.
All right. Okay, next Cindy and Monica from Malaysia.
Good evening, Tanajan. Good evening, Tanajan. How are you today?
No question today.
I have a question. This one is regarding the dependent origination. I've been reflecting that if avijja, pachaya, sankhara, which is the thoughts, and then that one activates vijnana, which is the consciousness. So if vijnana actually activates nama rupa, can I say that the nama in this context is the memory and the perception?
No, nama rupa, I think this means the what you call sensual objects and sensual organs, nama rupa. Or maybe the five khandhas, I'm not sure here, but I think it has to do with the nama rupa is the sensual organ. I'm not sure nama rupa means body and mind. Or
no, in this case, the nama, because nama rupa is actually the mind and body. So, but because mind, there are four parts. So can I say that this nama in this context, it is actually relating to memory and perception, since the thoughts and the consciousness already mentioned?
I think nama rupa really is the five khandhas. Rupa is the body, and the nama, the vedana, sanya, sankhara, and vijnana. The nama khandha and the rupa khandha. When they join, we call the five khandha, pancha khandha. See, in the dependent origination, it tells you the path that the mind travels. It starts with avijja, ignorance in the mind. Then ignorance will then use sankhara, and then sankhara will then use vijnana to connect to the nama rupa, to the body, the sensual organs, so that it can then have contact with the sensual objects. And when you have sensual objects, then you have feelings, good feelings, right? You look for good feelings. That's why you go outside the house. And when you stay inside the house, there are no sensual objects for you to enjoy. That's why you go out, right? To enjoy. Because when you go out, you see different images, you're listening to hear different sound and so forth. So it gives you enjoyment, it gives you good feelings. And when you have good feelings, you have attachment to this good feeling. Or have desire for more good feelings and have the attachment for this feeling to have this good feeling all the time. So when you have no good feeling, like when your body dies, then you go look for a new body to come back and continue contacting with this new sensual objects with your new body, in order to have more good feelings. That's what it means. Okay.
So in that context, the memory and perception, where does that come in this equation?
Well, they work together. See, when you see an object, vijnana first come to do the work. Vijnana is the one that takes the object that the eye see to let the mind analyze, using perception as the analyzer and sankhara. See, when you see an object, then you want to know which object it is, good or bad, right? When you see someone, see something, when you first see, you might not know what it is, so you want to find out what it is. Once you find out it is something, then if it's good, then you have good feeling arising. If it's bad, then you have bad feeling arising. then your sankhara will tell you how to react to this good or bad, this object that causing you good or bad feelings.
So that means the interaction is not actually very straightforward, right?
Yeah, the five khandha is working together all the time. See, the body have the five sensual organs to connect with the five sensual objects. Once the sensual object comes into contact with the sensual organs, then the vijnana, the five vijnana will come and first take this to the mind, send it to the mind. It's like a messenger that takes the messages from the body to the mind. Once the message get to the mind, then perception will be the one to sort out things, whether these are good or bad things. Sanya. And when it's good, then feeling arise, good feeling arise. When it's bad, bad feeling arise. If it's neither good nor bad, then neutral feelings arise. And when there are feelings, then sankhara will then be the one will tell how the mind should react to these feelings. If it's good feeling, go after it. If it's bad feeling, run away from it. Right? When you see something you like, you want more, right? So you go after it. When you see something you don't like, you want to get rid of it. So this thing comes very quickly, automatically, very fast, because the mind has been programmed to do this reaction. So when you're talking about nama rupa, you're talking about the five khandhas. And when they are contact, then sanya will work and then create feelings, right? But in the chain, they don't mention the sanya. They just mention the result of sanya, which is feeling, vedana. And with feeling, you have desire. One more good feeling. The desire want to get rid of your bad feeling, and then you have this attachment to this feeling. You want more of the good feeling. So when the body dies, then you go and look for a new body to replace your old body. So you can continue on getting more sensual objects to satisfy your desire. So this is how the process of rebirth keeps continuing. Okay.
Yes, thank you, Ajahn.
I might not explain it clear enough, but maybe it's something that is hard to understand also.
But I think maybe it's because this, if you mention the sanya is the result, then I think that is okay. It's quite clear.
Sanya is the cause, and feeling is the result. When you see something, if you remember that thing, then you know whether that thing is good to you or bad to you. Right? If you see someone who hates you, you know that someone is bad to you. So when you see someone who hates you, you have what? Bad feeling.
Because I think the cause and the results they are quite connected. So
they almost twin. They come together. They're so fast. They are almost automatic.
Yes, that's true. Thank you so much, Ajahn. Okay.
Next, Rusli, Sinyi, you want to ask something?
Actually, I don't really have anything to ask, but I feel that last week, Ajahn shared you asked us that we can use a reminder every day when we wake up or whenever we have time. Once we are born and then we are subjected to old age, disease, and death. I think that's quite helpful because I've been practicing it, and I think it helps me to practice a bit more. So I managed to meditate slightly more. So, and when I take 8 precepts once a week, I feel that I can calm down much easier.
Yes, it's good to always keep reminding yourself, every day, and not just once. Try to remind you as much as you can, because we tend to forget, because we are so involved with living, involved with doing things, we forget the truth that is awaiting us, which is aging, sickness, and death. Appointment, actually, we forget our appointment. We have appointment with aging, sickness, and death, but we tend to forget this, and we thought we're not going to meet them. We thought we're going to live forever with good health and strength and strong.
I also want to thank you, Tan Ajahn, for that, because I know the importance.
You should thank the Buddha, because this is the one the Buddha taught us to do.
Okay. Yeah, thank you, the Buddha and Tan Ajahn, for sharing his teaching with us.
Yeah.
Actually, personally, I also use that because my mind, I find, keep on going out and the restlessness keep on kicking in. So I keep on telling myself, oh yeah, okay, I'm still subject with birth. I'm subject to what called aging, sickness and death. So then suddenly that the mind, I can feel the mind go back in. But when I forget about it, it goes out again.
Yeah, because once you think of that, then you can ask yourself, what's the point of doing all these things for anyway? You're gonna end up throwing it all away. Everything that you have, you're gonna throw it all out the window when death comes around. So why worry? Why get so involved with acquiring them, possessing them, and protecting them, when in the end you are gonna throw it all away anyway? It's good to cut down your greed, cut down your attachment, and slow down your desire, your cravings, and then makes you turn around and look for something more substantial, which is peace of mind, which is something you can take it with you when the body dies. Nothing else you can take with you except what you keep in your mind, either peace of mind or suffering in your mind. That's what you take with you when you die.
Yeah, I think personally, I just shared with her this evening. I said that because I used to think a lot. So when the mind goes round, out of control, it's like really like hell. And then when there is peace, I told her that really is a treasure.
Yes, when it's peace, it's heaven. When you have confusion, you have problem, then this is hell for the mind. When you have suffering, stress is hell. My peace is heaven.
Yeah, and nobody can help because it's internal.
Right, you're the one who create them. Nobody created them. You're the one who created them. You keep creating hell for yourself, not knowing it. By your desire, by your attachment to things. If you can let go of your attachment, let go of your desire, there will be no hell in your mind. Okay. Bruce Lee, you're next from Indonesia. You have any question?
Evening, Ajahn. No question tonight, Ajahn. Thank you.
Okay, Evie then. Evie from Indonesia also. You have any question, Evie? Cannot hear you. Can you speak?
My connection, something wrong.
Okay, I can hear you now, but off and on.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Ajahn, during these few days, I meditate with just anapanasati, and I'm just like a piece of wood standing here, and I don't do any contemplation or scanning because I'm so lazy. Because when I do scanning, it's very tired. Am I do wrong?
Yes, I'm wrong. I kept telling you you're not focusing. Your first step is to focus your mind.
Yeah, I didn't do any scanning or anything. Just focus.
No scanning, but just keep watching your body. Reciting a mantra. That's what you should be doing. Nothing else matters right now. Before you can walk, before you can run, you have to learn to stand up first. If you cannot stand up, you cannot walk, you cannot run.
I didn't recite Buddha also because too lazy, so I am just watching the nose.
I know. You have to focus your mind so that it stop wandering around, stop thinking about things that you don't have to think about.
Ajahn, what is Patiweda meaning?
Can't hear you.
Okay.
We have so many noise in the background.
The connection is
Okay.
something.
Then let me go to the next person. Okay. Okay. Selva Kumar.
Yeah.
From India.
Yeah, I'm from India.
Okay.
I just want to know, in our meditation, when we go for deep level of vipassana meditation, we know that we are seeing our body, we are scanning our body, we are feeling the sensation, we are not reacting to the sensation. But who is the real seer? Like I am seeing my sensation, I am feeling my sensation. Is there someone beyond that seer?
It's not someone. It's a natural thing that called the mind. One who thinks and one who knows.
Okay, that is called Ananta.
It's all anatta. Everything is anatta. No self. Self is just a concept created by delusion in the mind.
Okay. So the final stage of Nibbana is like that silent observer beyond my mind, and I should get like become a merger. Is it like that?
It's just that with Nibbana, you destroy the concept of a self in your mind. No self. There's no someone seeing, but they're just seeing. No someone seeing, just seeing, hearing, knowing, but there's no one who knowing or no one thinking. It's just process. They are all process. Yes, there's thinking, there's seeing, there's hearing, there's knowing, but there's no person behind this thing.
So what is that stage like? Can it be explained? Is that stage can be explained how it looks like? Or what is the form of that stage?
It can only be explained by your own experience. You cannot explain clearly, completely to other people. It's like explaining colors to a blind person. Can you explain the difference between black and red or green to a blind person?
So that is the final Arahant stage.
Eventually, you have to see everything in completely. An Arahant will see everything in complete form. But the other stage, they see partially, not all.
Okay. And one more thing is like we know what is dharma and what is adharma. When we focus towards complete enlightenment, should we keep having compassionate even people who are harming us in different ways? Or should we teach them a lesson saying that this is adharma? Because even if you are not saying them this is adharma, then we are traveling in a wrong path. So should we try to correct them or just keep on moving only with a compassionate mind?
It depends on whether you can do it or not, whether they are receptive to your action or not. If they are not receptive, then you just have to leave them alone.
Okay.
If you can help them, help. If they don't want to accept your help, then you just forget about it.
Okay, fine.
Okay.
Thank you. Thank you.
All right. You're welcome. I see Vince, but he's not turning on his video. Vince, you want to speak? From Singapore.
I don't have any question, sir.
Okay, no question today.
Yeah, just enjoying it. Yeah.
All right. Then
Thank you.
Kimrad Sharma. Please unmute your microphone.
Yeah, Azan, I have one question. In Tibetan Buddhism, it has mentioned about Dakini, but in Theravada, there's no Dakini. Could you explain me?
Can you speak louder, please? I cannot quite hear what you said.
Dakini. There's a one lady in Tibetan Buddhism.
Yes.
Her name is her name is Dakini, and it divides. Yeah,
a god or something.
Yes, she's a god, but it has mentioned there are 4 kinds of Dakini: inner Dakini, outer form Dakini, and there's a many story about Dakini. So if you have any knowledge about Dakini, can you little bit illustrate about Dakini?
This is the first time that I heard about it, so I don't think I can say anything about it.
Okay, okay.
I didn't study any Tibetan Buddhism.
Okay, okay. Yeah, fine. That was my question.
Okay, sorry about that.
No, it's fine.
Okay. All right. Does anybody else who hasn't turned on the video would like to ask question? If you do, please unmute your microphone. If not, I will go to question from Facebook. Okay. Facebook, Kunla, is there any question from Facebook today?
Yes, now we have 12 questions from Facebook, Tanajan.
All right, shoot, go ahead.
The first question from Johanna. Namaste, Ajahn. I'm asking on behalf of my friend about his meditation experience. When he reached a calm state, he always see a dark blue light. What is that blue light, Ajahn? Thank you.
Just ignore everything that you see and keep continuing on meditation because you haven't reached your final destination yet, which is emptiness. So there are just mental objects that can arise when your mind is still not yet completely still. So just don't worry about it. It's not harmful to you. Will cause any danger. Just ignore and continue on with your concentration.
Next question from Ho Leong Soon. How is practicing as Buddhist help us facing the fear of death? Thank you.
Well, as a Buddhist, if we practice according to what the Buddha teaches, then we'll have a strong mind to be able to accept death without having any fear. Because we will know that the body is not ourselves and we cannot stop the body from dying. So when we understand this and we then just leave the body alone, then whatever happens to the body will not affect us.
Next question from Lim. Good evening, Ajahn. I have a question on the relationship between nimitta and 32 parts of the body. Is we need to have a strong nimitta in order to contemplate the 32 parts of the body? Thank you.
No, nimitta are just images that appears in the mind. And it could be anything. It could be images of the past, images of some deva, images of anything, or lights, or colors, whatever. These are things that can happen when you meditate, but they have no any significance for your practice. So you should not pay attention to them, ignore them. Don't be distracted by them. You should keep concentrating on your meditation object. As far as the 32 parts, this is something you want to study to see clearly the nature of the body, that it is not just made up from what you can see. There are things that you cannot see hidden under the skin, which makes you might see the body in the wrong light. You might see the body as good looking, but if you see the rest of the parts of the body in the body, you'll see that the body is not good looking at all. This can help you reduce your sexual desire toward other people's body.
Next question from Silva A. Dear Ajahn, how can we convert driving car to meditation? I usually listen to Dhammatalks while driving. Thank you.
Well, it's kind of dangerous to be doing two things at the same time. Driving, you should concentrate on just driving. Like right now, they even prevent this. They prohibit you from using your phone when you drive because you can become distracted. So it's the same way with this. Listening to Dhammatalk can also distract your attention to your driving. So you should not do two things at the same time. You should focus on one thing at a time, better, to get your mind concentrated and under control.
Next question from Tin Jack. Dear Ajahn, thank you for spending time with us again. The question is, if the body dies and the awakened mind is free from the body, does the mind still need to exist? Thank you.
There's no such a word as need to exist. It exists. You cannot stop it from existing. It's something that is permanent. So whether there is a body or no body, the mind still exists. The difference is if you have a body, then you have suffering, causing suffering to the mind, because the mind becomes attached to the body. But if there's no body, then there's no suffering.
Next question from Silva A. Why with only jhana and samadhi, we can't get rid of attachment to the body? Thank you.
You get rid of it temporarily. When you have jhana, when you have samadhi, the mind disengage from the body temporarily. But when it comes out of samadhi, then the defilement will then force the mind to reconnect to the body and become attached to the body again. In order to get rid of this connection or attachment, you need to see the body as being dukkha, as being anicca, as being anatta. Once you see that the body can cause you suffering, like if you see a snake, you don't want to be near a snake, right? Because you know the snake can bite you. Same way, you should look at the body like a snake. Then you don't want to be near your body, have anything to do with your body, because your body can bite you, bite your mind, without knowing it. The suffering that you have from the body is from the time of birth to the time of death. Right? Always there's something that causing you suffering, either hunger or thirst, or any kind of pain that arises from the body. These are all hurting the mind. So if the mind can see the body in this light, then the mind don't want to have anything to do with the body anymore.
Next question again from Silva A. Dear Ajahn, can we develop mindfulness by just focusing on a particular sound in nature, like a bird sound only, or just sound of wind, rather than focusing in our bodily sensations? Thank
No,
you.
because they're not constant. They're not always there. You need something that is always there with you, which is your body. The sound comes and goes. Everything else comes and goes. But the body will always be with you, except at the time of death.
Next question from Ho Liang Soon. Breathing makes us calm and still, and mind focusing makes us empty and bright. If we keep staying meditate, I feel peace. Is it in the state of samadhi? Thank you.
If it's peace, then it's called samadhi, but we have different level of samadhi. From low level to high level. So
Next question from Silva A. Dear Ajahn, is being health conscious make one tough to get detached from the body? Thank you.
being what conscious?
Being health conscious.
Health
make us-
conscious?
Yes.
Yeah, okay. Make us what?
Tough to get detached from the body.
It depends on how conscious you are with your body. If you are obsessed, then it's you are attached. If you are conscious but not attached, then it's okay. You have to look after the body, but not with obsession or with attachment. Like you're looking after somebody else's body, for instance. You're not obsessed. You know. Like if you are a nurse or somebody, you look after the patient, but you're not so obsessed or attached to the patient body like you would be with your own body. So you should look at your body like as if it's somebody else's body. Look after the body just like you're looking after somebody else's body. Then you won't have any suffering. Because when you look after somebody else's body, if they die, it's gonna hurt you, not gonna hurt you. Unless you are obsessed or you are attached to that person's body, then it can hurt you. But if you're not obsessed or attached, then it will not hurt you. So this is how you should look at your own body, how you should deal with your own body, as if it's somebody else's body, not your body.
3 questions from Polian Soon. The first one is, if somebody who teach Dhamma to others, do this person achieve the merit? And what is the good of merit to lay person?
Well, it can be good and bad, you know. Depends on what the person teach, right or true Dhamma or not the true Dhamma. So it's better not to teach other people until you before you become enlightened. Because if you're not enlightened, you don't know the Dhamma, really know the Dhamma. So it's quite dangerous to teach other people when you're still blind. You know?
Next question is, I'm keep on craving to do meditation. Is it positive of my result? Thank you.
Yes, it's good craving. There are bad craving and good craving. The craving for practice meditation, keeping sila, and do charity, these are good cravings. Because they will liberate your mind from suffering.
Next question. Can I practicing knowing to my breath anytime and anywhere I go in order to make my mind mindful? Thank you.
Try it, don't ask me. You have your breath, you can do it now, do it anytime.
And last question from Christine. Good evening, Ajahn. Mind always stay in the middle of our heart when we meditate. Is this correct?
No. The heart and the mind are two separate things. Yeah. But sometimes we feel that the mind is in the heart, but it's not. It's just a misunderstanding. The heart and the mind are two separate. I mean, the body and the mind are two separate things. That's all the question. Just now I saw a few people came in and they went out again.
Nayasami,
Yeah.
he raised his hand.
Okay, Yanasami.
Hello, Tanajan. Can you hear me?
Question from you?
Yes, my question is, once people manage to realize the first noble truth, could it lead them to like a major depressive episode in their life?
Can you repeat your question again?
My question is, if someone reached the first noble truth, the noble truth of the suffering of life, can it lead them to a major depressive episode? Like, can they go into a deep depression because of that?
It can lead you to anywhere because we all know the first noble truth, and it leads us to all different directions. Sometimes it leads us to a monastery, sometimes it leads us to a bar, when you have dukkha, you have to find a way to get rid of it, right? Sometimes you go on a holiday to get rid of your dukkha. Sometimes you go to meditate in a monastery to get rid of your dukkha. So it depends on which direction you want to go. So if you want to go, then you have to see the second, third, and fourth truth before you can get the right direction. If you just only see the first one, is not good enough. You have to know that your dukkha is caused by your cravings, the sensual pleasure craving. So you have to stop your sensual pleasure craving by using the fourth noble truth, which is the path to the cessation of dukkha, to the cessation of your cravings. So you need, once you have dukkha, and you know that it's because you have sensual pleasure, craving for sensual pleasure, then you want to eliminate your craving for sensual pleasure. And the thing that will be able to eliminate is the practice of the fourth noble truth, which is the eightfold path, the eightfold path. Of Sila, Samadhi, and Panya.
Yes, but then Ajahn, like in our own unfolding intellectually, excuse me, intellectually I understand this thing, but in my own unfolding in the mind of the real understanding about, I think at the level of the real understanding, like the Bhavanamaya Panya, I don't quite see the noble eightfold path or this thing. I understand it only intellectually. So in that unfolding, I was saying that about the first and second noble truth can, be really realizing it through their own experience that really life is suffering, because we are attached to. We will expect life to give us happiness. We expect the sensual pleasure and the mundane life to be it. To be the thing that gives us what we want. But then when we find like, like the Buddha is right. He discovered these things, and it's real. Not just on an intellectual level, but like really start to experience that suffering could be quite a big shock to our system, no?
Yes. This is the impermanent nature of the happiness that you get from sensual objects.
Because at that point, we still don't see the happiness of Nibbana. We don't see any permanent happiness. At that point, practice, we just only see now only suffering. Everywhere we look, there's only suffering.
Every time you stop your dukkha, you see partial Nibbana, really.
Yeah, like in my meditation, sometimes I do experience that.
That's right, you got temporary Nibbana. So the goal is to make it permanent. Somehow your sound keeps coming off and on. Can you still hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
So see, in the practice, you don't get Nibbana right away, 100%. You don't get rid of your suffering or dukkha right away. You do it like as one at a time or two at a time. You just keep chopping it off from your mind until they are completely gone. Then you have 100% Nibbana. Okay.
Yeah.
That's why you have 4 levels of enlightenment, 4 levels of Nibbana, partial Nibbana. I think when you get to the 4th, then you get full, complete Nibbana. All right. Anybody else have any question? You're free to raise your hand and.
We have Lillian. She just coming.
Lillian from Bangkok.
Yes,
okay.
right.
Lillian, any question, Lillian?
Listening in, but a bit late today.
It's okay. There's no appointment here.
Yeah.
You can come and go anytime you like.
Yep, just listening in.
No question.
Yep.
Okay.
Alvin Lee.
Alvin. Okay.
Tanajan, going back to Jack's question of Pacceka Buddha, I've heard this term called Sabaka Buddha as well. And also another question, isn't Arahant can be considered Buddha as well, Tanajan?
No, according to the definition, Buddha is a self-enlightened person. Arahant, Savaka Arahant. Savaka means student or listener. One who studies from the Buddha is called a Savaka. But Arahant, the Buddha is an Arahant. So is the Savaka Arahant. But the Buddha is a self-enlightened Arahant. So a self-made Arahant, let's put it that way. Like self-made millionaire. So we call him the Buddha. Okay. Why the Arahant, they're not self-made millionaire. They make money from the millionaire. They go work for the millionaire. And then they get paid by working for the millionaire. So they don't call themselves self-made millionaire. They call themselves employed millionaire. Okay.
Okay, thanks. Okay, thanks, Tanajan. Thanks.
So there are two types of Arahant, self-made Arahant and Arahant who study from the Buddha, from other Arahant.
Thanks.
Okay. These are not really important, pertinent questions, really. Sometimes it can disrupt your meditation, your practice if you spend too much time worrying about them. Sometimes knowing too much is not good, because you don't know completely. So it leaves you doubtful from what you know. Then it can cause you to be doubtful of your practice in the end. So sometimes better not to know too much. Just know what you need to know. Just know how to develop mindfulness, know how to keep the sila, and know how to meditate, and know how to contemplate the three characteristics of existence. That's all you really need to know. Other things, just they are good information, but if you get it wrong, then it can become a problem. Like the parable of the 5 blind men feeling an elephant, describing an elephant. One person touched the tail of the elephant and said, "Oh, this thing is a rope. It's a piece of rope." Another one feel the trunk, right? It's like a snake. No, like a spear. The trunk, the sharp point. You call that a trunk, right? And then one feel the nose of the elephant and say, "Oh, this is like a snake." And one touch the stomach of the side of the elephant and said, "This is like a wall." It's all true, but it's not complete truth. And they can be in conflict when you start to compare this information with the other people. So when you start to talking Dhamma with other unenlightened person, you can end up like five blind men describing an elephant. So it's better to talk to a person who is not blind. Then he can tell you the complete story, the complete picture of the elephant. And right now, the Buddha said all you need to know is how to practice the Noble Eightfold Path. That's all you really need to know. The Buddha said the knowledge that he knows are like the leaves in the forest. And the knowledge, the information or the knowledge that he teaches us is like the leaves in his hand. He pick up a few leaves in his hand and ask the monk, which are more, the leaves in my hand or the leaves in the forest? And the monk said, of course, the leaves in the forest must be more than the leaves in your hand. The Buddha said, exactly. The knowledge I teach you just like the leaves in my hand, but the knowledge that I know are like the leaves in the forest. But I don't teach you all of them because it's not important to you to know. Okay? So know the Eightfold Path is good enough. Don't try to know everything else. Pacheka Buddha, Savaka Buddha, so forth. Or Bodhisattva, all these things, they are peripheral information that you don't need to know. And sometimes it can become confusing if you don't understand all this terminology. You can get confused. Okay. Anybody else? Any question? It's almost 2 hours, 2 more minutes, and we'll have our 2 hours. Okay. If nobody have any question, maybe it's time for us to call this meeting to an end. Thank you very much for your participation. Enjoy talking to you, enjoying sharing the knowledge with you. I hope there can be some benefit and help you advance in your practice. So in the meantime, please be safe, be healthy, be mindful, and keep on practicing. Sooner or later, you will become enlightened. Thank you and goodbye.
สาธุเจ้าค่ะ
Thank you, Thang Ajahn. Thank you, admin. Thank you, admin.
Thank you, admin.
Thank you.
Thank you.